Good morning, afternoon and evening, everybody. Welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. It's lovely to have you here today at our TSL and ZooLab Kids Virtual COP Climate Summit. My name is Kirsty Shakespeare. I'm the International Education for Sustainable Development Manager, and I'm going to be one of our Master of Ceremonies today for our Kids COP Summit. So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully you are aware, as climate knowledgeable students and teachers and members of the public, that world leaders are currently meeting in Glasgow at the COP26 summit, where they're discussing climate options to try and help combat the current climate crisis that the world is facing. Today is the official COP day of youth and public empowerment, which is why we've decided to host our virtual summit role play, which is an opportunity for students around the world to meet with other students and discuss some of the challenges that our climate is facing, some of the drivers of climate change, and also come up with some solutions that they think that world leaders at our real COP should perhaps be considering. So our students are from 15 different countries and have worked for the last 3 weeks to prepare to become experts in a particular subject relating to the climate crisis. And they're going to be sharing those ideas with our world leaders, who will introduce themselves a little bit later on, and sharing their solutions for the climate crisis. So I'd like to hand over to my colleague Georgie from ZooLab, who's going to be sharing a little bit more about the event with you. Thank you, Georgie.
Thank you, Kirsty. Yes, a great big welcome from myself. My name is Georgie. I'm from ZooLab, and it's fantastic to have all of these faces in front of me today for our Kids Virtual Climate COP from all over the world. We've had a lot of hard work gone into today's event from both students, and we have our judges that we need to thank, our world leaders that are playing their part today in our summit. So I'm going to let you know about the format for today's event. The first part of the event will involve all of our team speakers putting forward their points and ideas that they've been working on for the last few weeks, putting them forward to our world leaders for the hope that they'll, in their action plan, they'll take these ideas on board to help to save our planet. We have 15 countries represented today, which is fantastic. After all of our teams have put forward their ideas, we have 8 teams, and we're going to run them in alphabetical order. We've got biodiversity, business and finance, energy, food and farming, forests, oceans, social justice, and transport. After we've had all of our ideas and points put forward, we're then going to take a break, and then we'll join back together, and it's the opportunity for our world leaders to then discuss with our team speakers and negotiate, challenge perhaps, and compromise with our team speakers, and put forward an action plan that's been collectively worked on together to combat climate change. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our world leaders. So if you'd like to just introduce yourselves, that would be fantastic.
I'll go first, yeah.
Sorry,
Well,
yeah.
Well, we world leaders have been working very hard this week in Glasgow, but we've all flown back in our expensive private jets to meet with you today, and we're very pleased to see you all here. We think we've come up with an interesting plan to save the planet, and Kirsty will share it with you in a moment, and we'd very much like to hear your views on what we've done. So shall I pass over to Toby?
Yeah, hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Toby, as you've probably heard. And yeah, as Barry said, we've been working extremely hard, making all these commitments that we're not quite sure how to achieve. And yeah, just seeing how beautiful this country of Scotland is in Glasgow. And we've flown back in a hurry to be with you today. So very happy to hear your plans, and hopefully we can come to a fruitful end, yeah.
Hi everyone.
Oh, thank you, John Paul. Yeah.
Hi everyone. We world leaders are at Glasgow, preparing your future, and also with the polluters, thinking of how we should help you to have a peaceful future, and looking forward to what you have to say to us world leaders. Thank you.
Is our final world leader with us?
Hi, I'm Gamal. I'm one of the world leaders who is busy working on this plan in Glasgow at the moment. So there's a lot of commitments that are being made, but obviously we do know that we need to take on new ideas, and we're looking forward to hearing from you and how this will all be made to happen. So thank you.
Fab, thank you. So the world leaders have asked me to share their action plan with you students. So I'm just going to share my screen so that you can see the current action plan that our world leaders have set out. As you will notice, there is an action point that leads to each of the 8 topics we're going to be exploring today. So I don't know if any of the world leaders want to briefly talk us through the action plans they've made for each of the points, or if you'd like me to share those.
Yeah, I'm happy to walk through those.
Fabulous, thank you.
8, yeah, so I'll just walk through them. So there's specific goals that we've come to. So I'll walk through each of those. So the first is biodiversity. So there will be a ban on hunting of animals. The next is in the business and finance sphere, and that is fines for high carbon producing businesses. In energy, a commitment that 20% of energy used in developed countries must come from renewable resources by 2050. For food and farming, the use of pesticides will be reduced by 10% by 2050. In the forestry area, deforestation would be illegal by 2050. In oceans, there'd be a reduction of plastic by 15%. And for social justice, minimum wages will be set across all countries. And in transport, all vehicles will become hybrid by 2050.
Wonderful, thank you, world leaders, for sharing that. I'll leave that up just one more moment for the students, and then make sure everyone's managed to see those, and then we can make a start with our presentations. Okay, fabulous. Okay, Georgie.
Okay, well, thank you very much, board leaders. Interesting action plan. We're going to put forward to our team speakers now, and see what they would like to talk to you about. So first of all, I'd like to invite up our biodiversity team. So in our biodiversity team, we have Eleni from Greece, we have Anvashika from India, and Anam from the UK. So our first speaker in our biodiversity team, if you'd like to take the stage.
Okay. Hello.
Eleni, have you got another device on in the same room? If they mute, or if they mute and turn their sound down, sound.
You can turn the sound down on another device.
Hello, world leaders. Hello, everyone. My name is Eleni Papathoma. Today, my team will speak about the biodiversity. Biodiversity is a term used to describe the enormous variety of life on Earth. It's a variety of different species of organisms within an ecosystem. For example, the Amazon rainforest and coral reefs are a complete biodiversity environment. In an ecosystem, each species depends on others. For many people living in towns and cities, wildlife life is of these, that the air you breathe, the water you drink, and the food you eat all rely on biodiversity. Some examples are obvious. Without bees to pollinate, there would be no fruit or nuts. We need to reconnect with the nature for a better future. Thank you for your attention. That was a short introduction. The next speaker is Amvashika.
Thank you, Alini. This is me, Anvishika Matwal from India, and I'm presenting my view on who or what is affected by biodiversity. A biodiversity where each and everybody is interconnected is affected. Like our nature, human means animal, plant, tree, insect, microorganism, means all of flora, fauna, terra, aqua, and biomes are affected. The things which are affected are trash and pollution water affect the species of marine because it reduces the O2 and carbon and provide CO2. Pollution in land and air affect the animal and human life because it reduces the soil quality, and non-human consume the type of chemical fertilizer based crop, they can get easily ill. Air contains some poisonous gases too, and it can affect our lungs, kidney, or respiratory system. Overpopulation. Overpopulation means more demand of people, and more demand of people means habitat loss, and habitat loss means deforestation or forest fire. And the result we get is flood, drought, soil erosion, temperature rising up, means the whole climate will change. As you know, every year 3 species disappear. Every day up to 150 species got lost, and every year between 18,000 to 55,000 species become extinct. So we need some recommended action. So I would like to welcome my dear friend Anna to present her view to add this. So thank you, now marvelous day ahead. Over to you, Anna.
Hello, world leaders, and hello, everyone. My name is Anam, and I'm going to talk to you about recommended actions for biodiversity. So, number one, don't cut down trees because animal habitats will get destroyed, and all the animals that live on trees, they will die if they don't have a habitat. Number two, use 4Rs: use, refuse, reduce, and recycle. So recycle rubbish and reuse it, because if the rubbish gets stuck in trees and animals that are in the trees, they might eat all the plastic and die, and animal species are part of biodiversity. Number three, get better environmental education for everyone. So everyone will be educated about nature and everything that's around them, so they can also be more environmental friendlier. Number four, create new laws to protect biodiversity. An example is to protect forest and implement on the 4Rs. Number five, use renewable energy sources such as you can ride bikes, scooters, skateboards, or walk to local places. Number six, you can save water. Number seven, you have to plant more trees and crops. So if you plant more trees, then there will be more trees for animals to live on. So there will be more biodiversity. Thank you for giving your attention, for listening to me. I'm going to hand this over to Eleni now.
Thank you, Anna. And we are very privileged to present about climate change and its harsh effect on biodiversity. As already has focused on problems such as deforestation, overpopulation, pollution, etc. And these problems affect the animal, plant, tree, insect, microorganism. So we need some recommended actions. As Anna has told us to choose 4R, green drive, zero carbon target, organic product, and increase view carbon in marine life. And by this, we can make our planet a beautiful place for a coming generation. Now, I'm stopping my verse. Thank you, and have a marvelous day ahead. Over to you next team. Thanks a lot.
Unfortunately, the human activities have changed and destroyed many important ecosystems. Here in Greece, we had huge wildfires last summer. This happened because of a historical heat wave. The temperatures reached 47 degrees. Thousands of hectares of forest were burned, dozens of houses and many people were evacuated. This is a terrible result of the climate change. The environment and the climate need to be fully protected. This can only be achieved if we open ourselves to a sustainable life. This is not difficult. For example, say no to the plastic. Turn the water off while brushing your teeth. Resell or donate your clothes. Eat local. Grow your own herb garden without chemicals. We have to reconnect with the nature. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. Is that everyone from our biodiversity team? Excellent. Thank you very much, biodiversity experts, for sharing your suggestions there with our world leaders and helping to enlighten us to the problems that biodiversity is facing. It's great to hear some amazing suggestions and solutions, which hopefully our world leaders will consider to add to their World Action Plan. Thank you very much. Okay, next up, we're going to be hearing from our business and finance expert. So can I welcome Tree from Vietnam, Musa from the UK, and Mia Sore from Nigeria, from our business and finance expert team, to the stage to share their presentation with our world leaders.
Hello. Excuse me.
Can you hear us, Mia Sore?
Yes.
We can hear you. Fantastic. Okay, when you're ready, team.
Okay.
We are Team Business and Finance, and today we will be addressing the impact that business and finance has on climate change. We will be talking about the problems along with some solutions, as if these problems carry on, then global warming would increase and we would be in danger of more natural disasters occurring. A solution is to invest in researching and providing new energy, saving technologies and efficiency measures. Over to Ziana now.
No, Ziana is sick, so Moisori would go now.
Okay, Moisori then.
Mia Sore, can you hear us? Would you like to share your points?
Okay. My points are: the Earth's climate has changed over the past century. The atmosphere and ocean have warmed. Sea levels have risen, and glaciers and ice sheets have decreased in size, continuously increasing in greenhouse gases. This will produce further warming and other changes in the Earth's environment and ecosystems. My name is Moyosara Akilmi from Caleb International College. I'm here on behalf of TSL ZooLab Kids COP26. The Industrial Revolution left our environment with little to be desired in the terms of pollution, deforestation, and so much environmental degradation. Lots of carbon emissions from fossil fuels, coal mines, automobile, and plastics, etc., has led us to flooding, wildfires, hurricanes, global warming, just to mention but a few. Humans, animals, plants, and the other world's biodiversity are facing an imminent mass extinction. This has in effect threatened food security, caused so much respiratory sickness, rendered many homeless, jeopardized businesses leading to unemployment, just to mention but a few. I'm thinking aloud on how businesses can help in checking the impact of climate change, hoping that other participants will handle other aspects of intervention. I wish to recommend that the heads of government should please make carbon pricing a priority to save our world. Also, there is need for businesses to partner effectively, utilize cap and trade as a means of reduction of overall carbon emissions, which is a major source of environmental pollution. By this, I mean that companies can trade off unused carbon emissions in, or, or emissions to other companies that need more as long as the companies involved do not exceed the limits required of them. This will indeed reduce global warming and create revenue for the carbon underutilized companies. In addition, there is need for businesses to stop greenwashing behaviors, such as claiming that their raw materials are from sustainable sources or having energy saving benefits when actually they don't. Of course, such claims can lead to emissions beyond the acceptable carbon emission ceiling, thereby misguiding the consumers and creating negative impact on our environment. More so, governments and financial institutions should invest in companies that are already involved in sustainable business practices in order to enable such companies overcome the challenges posed by the limited carbon usage, such as reduction in production, less yield or profit, which can lead to reduction of employees, i.e. unemployment. Dear heads of government, please massively educate your citizens on the need for green economy. Let the richer countries partner with the other countries to overcome their climate change impact through grants and other forms of financial assistance as a way to achieve all the promises made by world leaders at the ongoing COP26 at Glasgow. Above all, the fight against the negative impact of climate change requires the effort of all. Let's consume and live sustainably as we tell the next person that needs to protect our environment. You and I hold the key to the change we need in this world. Thank you. I'm done.
So Lisa?
Yes. Okay. Use of fossil fuels. Mining is used to extract solid fossil fuels such as coal. We depend on fossil fuels to heat our homes, run our vehicles, power industry and manufacturing, and provide us with electricity. However, we must reduce the use of fossil fuels and ultimately stop using them, as when burnt, they release large amounts of carbon dioxide, which is a greenhouse gas. Greenhouse gases trap heat in our atmosphere, causing global warming. To decrease global warming and our need for fossil fuels, we should switch to renewable energy. For example, solar energy can be used to produce electricity instead of coal because solar energy is a plentiful source of energy. Another solution is to reduce car use and start using electric cars. The more extreme and frequent the weather even gets, the higher the financial damage associated on property, but also on other parts of our economy. In this case of a severe flood, for instance, a mortgage owner might lose the house and might not be able to repay the full amount to the bank. It's over to Tree now.
Okay. Hello, I'm Tree from Vietnam. Businesses have another problem is unsustainable production and manufacturing process that affects the climate change. Many industrial factories release the toxic gas into the air. Some factories illegally dump their contaminated water, gases, chemicals, heavy metals, or radioactive materials into major waterways, cause damage to marine life and the environment. These contaminants also pollute the soil and can destroy the fertility of the soil, decrease the productivity of crops and lead to the contamination of foods that we may consume. There are many solutions businesses can apply to reduce climate change. Factories and businesses should invest in recycled materials and renewable energy like solar, wind, hydro, and geothermal, especially in poor and developing countries where heavily affected by the climate change. Businesses should use circular manufacturing where it utilizes automation tools, AI, and robots to reduce resources, recycle waste, and digitize internal communication to reduce waste and save energy. And finally, producing eco-friendly products. One more important thing is raising awareness among employees, clients, and other stakeholders about sustainable production and manufacturing process to protect the environment. In conclusion, businesses should invest in renewable energies, develop a circular manufacturing process, and produce sustainable and eco-friendly products. As members of Business and Finance Group, we hope our recommendations could help to build green businesses, to contribute to reduce climate change, and also develop a sustainable economy. Thanks.
Okay, a great big thank you to our business and finance team. Some great speaking there and some great points about the impact of business and finance on our climate. So I'd now like to welcome to the stage the energy team. We have Yingxing from Malaysia, Sahara from Japan, and Rahil from the UK. Thank you, guys.
Just to let our experts know, George, as well, there's a lot of support for some of the suggestions and points they've been putting to our world leaders coming through in the chat. So thank you, everyone, other experts, for sharing your comments there in support of the other teams as well.
Should we start? Okay.
Go ahead, Tara.
Hello, world leaders, teammates, friends, and organizers. I'm Taranaraj Karna from Japan. Konnichiwa. My teammates are Rahil from the UK. Hello, Rahil. And Chang Jing Singh from Malaysia. Ni hao, Chang Jing Singh. We are the energy group. Energy is the strength required for sustained activity. There are different kinds of energy, like energy produced through burning fossil fuels, solar power, air power, wind power, geothermal power, water power, also called hydropower, etc. Every man-made thing in the world, from brick walls to high-tech smartphones we use, you name it, everything needs energy. This means we want, produce, and use lots of it. But the world has only limited energy supply. So people end up hurting the planet from the inside out in search of more and more energy. And this unending search and use of energy is one of the biggest causes of climate change. For example, 2/3 of global greenhouse gas emissions are linked to burning fossil fuels for energy, to be used for things like heating, transport, or industry. According to the Center of Biological Diversity, an estimated 4.1 billion metric tons of carbon dioxide is added to our atmosphere every year as a result of burning fossil fuels. Petroleum, made from oil, which is another major source of energy used today, is not helping. Burning petroleum emits about 3/4 as much carbon dioxide as burning coal. If we continue this way, our planet will become a toxic wasteland sooner than later. Our group focuses on how to make some really good suggestions about how to produce and use energy. Rahil, it's your turn on stage.
Hello, my name is Rahil, and I'm going to be talking about green transport. The first thing that we can do to help our planet is to communicate better with scientists, as they can help to invent better and more efficient ways of transportation. This links up to the use of hydropower power and solar power. Hydropower is when you harness the power of water in motion to turn it into energy. Solar power is when we use the sun to give us power, and we can do this by using solar panels on top of transport. These are renewable energy sources, which means you can use it without it running out, and it emits a lower amount of carbon. This is better than fossil fuels, which harm the environment and cause global warming. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chong Jin Sing from Malaysia. I discourage people to use solar panels because they will pollute the planet when we throw them away. But I encourage everyone to use other renewable energy, for example, wind, biomass, hydroelectricity, and waves. For example, countries with more rainfall should use more hydro energy. Other countries with better technology can use more biomass too. People don't use much renewable energy, so parents, teachers, governments, and professors should educate their children or students or adults to use alternative renewable energy. Around 2.6 billion people in the world rely on burning fossil fuels. We also have issues of over-dependence on fossil fuels and increased energy import dependency. All governments can cooperate to make the entire world cook and heat food using only methane gas from plants or animal materials as fuel. The governments could build a systematic connection to collect biomass to generate enough energy for the people. Thank you. Over to you, Tarana.
Thank you, Rahel and Jing Sing, for those wonderful ideas. Hello, everyone. My point is about partnership. In my opinion, partnership is about working together. Partnership is a highly relevant point for the debate on climate change and global warming. This is because the energy crisis and global warming are not individual problems. These problems are created by all of us and they impact all of us. So we need to work together to solve this crisis. If we use partnership, we can negotiate with different groups such as governments, scientists, workers, and businesses, people to work together to solve this crisis. But what does that mean? Point 1. Partnership is about sharing different resources. For example, Rahel suggested the use of renewable energy. How can we achieve this? In order to produce and use renewable energy, scientists, governments, business people, and citizens will have to work together. Well, that's partnership. Scientists will have to find new ways to produce renewable energy, and businesses will have to fund those researches. Governments will have to build new rules, how to use energy, and citizens will have to follow those rules to change their ways of using energy. Point 2. Like I just said, partnership is also about managing our behaviors, making sure that we help each other to do the right thing to stop ourselves from harming nature. For example, Jing Xing suggested to be careful in the way we use solar panels, I think. That's true. Even if we find nature-friendly sources of energy, we still should be careful not to overuse it, and most importantly, never misuse it. How to do this? Again, it's partnership. All the involved parties need to be caring and responsible in the way they produce and use energy. If one group misuses these energy sources, another group will have to intervene to stop them. For example, if businesses fund harmful projects that misuse energy, government will have to stop them. Citizens should not use their products, and scientists should inform them with the right knowledge and guide them to fund good projects. Third and final point, partnership is also working across nations. As I said before, energy crisis and climate change are global issues. So one country cannot solve it, and we need global solutions to this problem. Such solutions are only possible through international partnerships. For example, there are many international partnerships developed by many countries and organizations to address the energy crisis and reduce the damage caused to nature. An example is the UN Framework Convention in Climate Change. Such partnerships provide international and national leadership, learning opportunities, and assistance with resource sharing to help solve this crisis. And finally, I think that Earth is like a big puzzle. Right now, human activities such as digging the earth for fossil fuels and petroleum-related emissions have destroyed this natural order. The only way for us to find the missing pieces and clear this confusion in a sustainable way is to rely on each other. Partnership helps to learn from each other and to also correct each other so that we can find the right order of the mixed up pieces to make our planet what it should be. Thank you. Back to you, Rahil, from the conclusion.
Thank you for your time and the opportunity to talk to you about the current problems with energy and ways that we can help to solve and reduce them.
Wonderful. Thank you very much there to our energy team experts. Some interesting points raised there about partnerships and use of renewable energy. So thank you very much, everyone. Next up, we're going to be inviting our food and farming experts to the screen. So Kazan from Malaysia, Tara from the Seychelles, and Connor from the UK. When you're ready, we'll get you up on screen and we can hear your suggestions for food and farming. And again, a lot of support there, energy team, from our other experts on your ideas and suggestions.
Hello. So, okay, there's everyone. Hello. As you may know already, food and farming is essential to everyday life, but as the earth is constantly changing, we are having to adapt to our practices to the ever-developing situation. Kazan, Farah, and I will be discussing the problems and possible solutions to food and farming. Off to Kazan, I believe. Or Farah.
Cattle farming problems and solutions. The problem is the cattle farming methane production, overgrazing, land clearance. The solution is change diets to reduce meat consumption, buy locally grown seasonal foods, and ensure farmers get a fair wage. In some countries, farmers don't pay attention to health problems, and thus the situation becomes worse. Even then, some farmers try themselves to cure the aliment. This causes loss to the farmers. If we pay attention to health care of animals, we can improve livestock productivity. We can train our farmers by educating our farmer, organizing training or workshops on advanced techniques in livestock. This will lead to prosperity of livestock sector. Livestock farmers are facing a number of challenges today. However, managing livestock in grassland in a sustainable way can provide farmers with cost-effective solutions to their animal good feed, reduce livestock emissions, store carbon in the soil, and maintain a stable dairy production. Now I hand over to Kazan for comment.
Hi, I'm Kazan from Malaysia. Farming depends on soil quality. If the quality is good, the yield will be good as well. Poor farming methods are human factors that affect soil quality because they make the soil more exposed. Therefore, the soil is easily affected by erosion, degradation, flooding, and droughts. This in turn will lead to more disastrous effects such as water pollution and landslides. Regenerative agriculture based on more systematic farming methods is needed to preserve soil quality. We could look into traditional farming methods that work to sustain the natural ecosystem, such as crop rotation. With this method, the nutrients of the soil will be preserved and it will have sufficient time to recover. Also, we could use natural predators to control pests instead of chemicals that could spoil the soil quality. For instance, owls will control the mice population in paddy fields, whereas ladybugs are effective to control aphids. This method uses a food chain approach, which wipes out prey without poisoning the soil and the crop. And government should also provide funds for farms. This allows more sustainable farming technology and knowledge sharing such as water management systems and rainwater. We can minimize energy used to water the crops. Over to you, Connor.
Hello again. One of the first problems as a reduce of increasing population in food and farming, and arguably the biggest one, is the fact that we are unable to keep up with the demand of population growth. This means that there is not enough food to go around for everyone. With all of that said, my team and I have brainstormed a possible solution to this issue. The solution is to minimalize the amount of food that is eaten each day. This would mean reducing overeating and ensuring people only have access to what they need. The second problem is farmers are using more fertilizers and pesticides in order to grow more crops quicker and to keep bugs and pests away from them. These chemicals have an impact on global warming as more greenhouse gases are entering the atmosphere. A way to reduce the pesticides is by building more greenhouse-like enclosures which keep pests away from them without need for harmful pesticides. I'm done.
We could reduce food waste by creating policies that allow citizens to learn about food management and increase their awareness about how hard it is to produce food from farming. Governments should give funds to make machines that will help farmers while reducing pollution and minimizing the impact on the environment. Countries should make full use of existing farmlands and not destroy more forest areas. In short, sustainable farming and proper food management systems allow better distribution of food to the world population and prevent the destruction of forests. So, world leaders should take note of this more serious. Thank you from Food and Farming.
Well, a great big thank you to Kaizen, Tahara and Connor from our food and farming team. Some great points on welfare of animals, farming solutions, soil quality and food security as well. Some really good points to put forward. And I'm loving how you're all supporting each other in the chat. The chat is going mad with support for each other when it's your turn to speak. So that's really nice to see. So we're going to get our food and farming team to step down now, and we're going to bring to the stage our forests team. And in our forest team, we have Chino from the Philippines, we have Dominika from Russia, and Khadija from the UK, and Noella from the Seychelles. We've got a slightly bigger team on this one, I think.
Hello everyone, my name is Noella Betinamkasa and I'm here to present to you the introduction for the forest group. So I'll start by defining what climate change is. This is basically refers to long-term shifts in weather patterns. The main causes to climate change are deforestation and fossil fuels such as coal, gas, and oil. About 15.3 billion trees are chopped down every year. One mature tree can absorb nearly 48 pounds of carbon dioxide in 1 year. And fossil fuels release large amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Okay. So next, the Amazon, the largest natural forest in the world, is and many others are being threatened by illegal logging. Thus, forests are the lungs of the earth. They help to purify the air we breathe. But this vital role is being threatened by man's activities. I would like to hand you over to the next presenter. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Khadija. I would like to discuss some of the issues with harming our forests on both people and animals, as well as a way in which we may be able to limit this. Cutting down the forests means that homes are being destroyed. This includes animals who now have no food and nowhere to live, such as birds and squirrels. It also includes people such as who are parts of tribes and would need to move away completely, uprooting their lives. Trees produce food for animals such as nuts and fruit, but if we take the trees away, the animals have to look somewhere else for food or they will starve. Some forests, for example ancient ones, have personal meanings to them. He would be really upset and frustrated by them taking it away. One way which we can reduce this is by encouraging people to take care of the forests by giving them rewards. This can be a form of certificates, badges, or even prizes and trophies. Whoever's next, they can go. Thank you.
Good evening to the world leaders and specialists. I am Chino Law and I am climate witness of a tribe in the Amazon. I will be presenting about sustainable farming. Our forests are threatened by deforestation. When trees are cut down, animals don't have a place to live in or they lose their food sources. Their ecosystems are affected and they can be extinct. Fewer forests and extinct animals mean that humans have less access to food too. We can prevent people from cutting down many trees by doing sustainable farming. Sustainable farming is about working with nature and using what we need. We can take care of the forest by practicing agroforestry. Agroforestry is a type of farming that plants and trees and crops together. Agroforestry practices helps us use forest space better, allowing us to harvest food while giving space for plants to regrow. We should teach about sustainable farming in schools. People will know there are different options for sustainable farming, not just high-tech tools. More people will be motivated to do sustainable farming when they understand how it works. Sustainable forest management plans. The government should work with the farmers to do selective tree cutting. Sustainable farming helps everyone because it gives animals and people enough food to eat and safe places to live. It preserves our planet and helps us grow closer. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that the conclusion of our forest team presentation? Yeah, Khadija?
Because you said Dominica, is she next?
No, Dominica's not been able to join us. It's just the three of you. Okay. Is that everyone finished? Yeah, fantastic. Okay, well, thank you very much there to our forest experts for sharing your suggestions with our world leaders on how they can help to implement some new ideas for saving forests and protecting us from climate change. Next up is going to be our oceans team. So can we welcome Darwin, Tabby, Nesta and Sarah to the stage to tell us about those. Let's just get you spotlighted.
Hello, world leaders. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for coming. I'm Nesta, and today my team and I will be telling you about the most concerning problems regarding our oceans.
Can't see Darwin or Sarah. There we go, there's Sarah. Oceans team, who's going to be speaking next?
I think Tabby. I do my part because I'm afterwards, but I don't remember who's after me. I don't remember who's after the introduction.
Is Sarah here?
Yes.
Tabby, do you want to go ahead?
Greetings to the world leaders and specialists. I am Tabby Prado and I am a representative of a fishing village on a small Pacific island. Today I will be talking about water pollution. What is water pollution? A simple answer to this question is that water pollution is the contamination of water bodies, such as the ocean, which affects our environment negatively. How, you might ask? Well, I'll give you some examples. One is that the waste thrown in the ocean can cause toxic bacteria or chemicals to spread to marine life, which we do not want. The decrease of marine life affects people's lives by lack of food and resources. This also affects our fishermen and their livelihood. For instance, when they go fishing out in a contaminated part of the ocean, the fish they get may have bacteria or chemicals in them that can cause diseases to humans that ingest them. These chemicals can also affect those who swim in the ocean. This is only half of the reasons we should address ocean pollution and do something about it. What can we do to help? According to National Geographic, many national laws as well as international agreements now forbid dumping of harmful materials into the ocean, although enforcing these regulations remains a challenge. So to help, we can educate more people about this and encourage them to support organizations that help the government enforce these laws and agreements. And if you're really passionate about helping, you can even make your own organization that can help. Simple ways to prevent ocean pollution: eco-friendly products and always reuse. I think there's much more to avoid pollution, deforestation and clear illegal dumping and industrial activities. A normal person can stop, but the government can help and do something to prevent it. Yes, some countries invest in coastal cleanup programs and do things to stop ocean pollution, but some isn't enough. We need more people to step up and do something about this. We need help from the people that can make a huge difference, which is you guys. I'm sure everyone here is worried for our future, and the that's not the only reason we should help. Our whole world could be gone tomorrow. So I hope we can all come together and make a difference in this world for our future and our environment. That's it for me. Thank you so much for listening. Now on to Sarah.
Hello, I'm Sarah, and I'm from the UK. I think ocean warming is the most important problem of all ocean warming problems. That's why I have chosen to talk about it today. Ocean warming means warmer sea temperatures are likely to create hurricanes, which can damage shelter and lead to loss of life for humans and marine life. Warmer seas leave coral reefs of bleaching, is when they lose their color and die. Ocean warming also has a food problem. For example, young penguins swim thousands of miles following tiny organisms called plankton. The plankton lead them to their favorite snack, sardines. But warmer sea temperatures mean sardines have moved to another part of the oceans, and the penguins go hungry. Here are some solutions. You can limit some of the greenhouse gases. You can do this by using renewable energy, for example, wind turbines, solar panels, and tidal power. If you can't, you might walk or cycle to school and places instead of using a car. This will help prevent impact on growing temperatures on the ocean ecosystems. You can also use less energy and choose energy efficiently, and don't overset your thermostat. Over to the next speaker.
Hello, I'm Nesta, and I think another concerning problem is overfishing. Overfishing is when huge boats called commercial fishing boats go and fish hundreds of thousands of fish illegally, which gets many species of fish to near extinction. This usually happens in Asian countries, mostly Japan, where some fish sell thousands. I think the best way to tackle this problem is by funding and supporting organizations like Sea Shepherd, where people risk their lives to stop commercial fishing boats. Now moving on to the next speaker.
Is Darwin with us today?
Yeah, sorry, I'm late. I've forgotten that we had a debate. I'll start now. Hello, world leaders and specialists. My name is Darwin Tan, and I am going to be speaking for a village on a small island in the Pacific. In this meeting, I'll be talking about how us humans affect the water cycle every day. How would it be affecting the water cycle, you may ask? Well, most people in the world own a mode of transportation, and that most of us at least eat a bit of animal. All of this affects the water cycle because of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide destroys the atmosphere on our planet and causes global warming because of mode of transportation. Because our mode of transportation, like cars and other vehicles, need fossil fuels. And once fossil fuels are burned, they release carbon dioxide, and this gas rises up to the atmosphere and traps more water vapor in the atmosphere, which makes the air more humid and rises temperatures of the earth and evaporates more amounts of water, which would flood small islands and even some cities near the ocean. Meat also has the effect on the world as well, because humans make animals reproduce, which would make more animals to release CO2 by breathing, and they would also consume more crops and would make the production of oxygen slower. It's because the crops they're plants and they would absorb CO2, which will also they will absorb CO2, which will help the atmosphere to which will help the atmosphere as well, as because and would help the temperatures as well. But since animals would eat the crops, the oxygen production would be slower. How could we stop all these problems, you may ask? Well, we could use our cars less and use public transport more, or use electric cars, bikes, etc. But also we could make the demand for meat lower down by consuming less meat, so then there will be less animals to release CO2. All of this could make the CO2 in the air become smaller and would help our planet and save the ocean.
Thank you for giving your time to listen to our ideas about how the ocean is affected and what we can do to help it.
Thank you, Oceans team. You all did a great job there. Sarah, I'm sorry we couldn't bring you to the screen when you were speaking. We had a technical issue, but we could hear you loud and clear with all your points. You've got a great speaking voice, so that's good.
Thank you.
Great, well done, Sarah. So some great points on oceans, renewable energies and overfishing and pollution there to put forward to our world leaders. Now I need to bring our next team to the stage, which is social justice. And in our social justice team, we have Karthikeya from Qatar. And we have Danya from the UK. Thank you, Team Social Justice.
Hello everyone. My team and I.
Rebecca, do you have a device you can turn down sound of?
Yes. Hello everyone, my team and I will present to you some information about social justice. So human rights are a set of universal rights that all humans are entitled to, regardless of their age, race, religion, or gender. Social justice refers to creating an equal society where everyone is treated with fairness and has equal opportunities. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights is an attempt to create social justice. The aims of social justice are to close the gap between the opportunities of rich and poor families. Second is to create opportunities for all, regardless of where they live, their upbringing, and how much money they have. Last but not least, a government that promotes social justice ensures that everyone has physical security, education, healthcare, and employment. This was a short introduction. The next speaker is Karthikeya.
Thank you. Am I loud and clear?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, Earth Warriors. My name is Karthikeya, and I wish to talk about fast fashion and unsustainable consumption, which is one of the major contributors to the already existing climate change problem. First, chemical dyes to the water bodies. Aquatic life is getting destroyed. People taking polluted water and falling sick. It is increasing the healthcare costs. Second, new and fast-changing designs, excessive production, low quality and cheap products, high buyout and fast throwaway trend in rising. Finally, all nylon and polyesters are ending in the landfill, which are not at all biodegradable. Third, unsustainable consumption. Manufacturing units move to poor countries, low wages and poor working conditions. Due to that, poverty and a lot of criminal activities are happening. There are few smart solutions to counteract the problem. First, government should cancel the licenses to the units that dispose contaminants to the water bodies. Second, penalties are to be imposed on the manufacturers who are making under-quality products. Third, criminal charges are to be imposed on the people who dispose clothes for landfills. Fourth, government should encourage new startup which comes with an idea of recycling and reuse. Thank you, and back to you, Danya.
Thank you. So my name is Danya and I'm from the topic social justice. I'm going to start talking about deforestation. Deforestation is a big problem and involved with climate change because all trees absorb carbon dioxide, and since trees are being cut down, all the carbon ends up in our atmosphere. This means that this will change our planet's climate. For example, the temperatures rise, there are stronger storms, and the sea levels rise. Who is getting affected? Citizens from developing countries have constant problems. One of 1,000 reasons are that they are suffering from drought. Drought is where you have a shortage of water and rainfall, which makes you thirsty. The weather is also making a big problem because people keep having heavy storms which destroys crops, which usually means that people who rely on their crops usually starve. What could people do to help prevent deforestation? Significant thing that we could do is that we could try to plant more trees. This way, more animals have a home. We have enough oxygen. Lower ranked countries are not thirsty that often, and all the carbon is absorbed by our trees. I also think that we should try and look at what ingredients there are in products. An example is that you could see if the product has palm oil in it. This does not only help prevent deforestation, this helps prevent other disasters that are involving climate change. Finally, do not burn firewood exceedingly, as this wood that you have burnt was probably a poor animal's home. Thank you for listening. I'm going to hand it over to Rebecca.
Thank you, Karthika. Thank you, Tanya. And now we're the leaders. My name is Rebecca, and I will be talking about food security, economy, and families. So the current food system, meaning production, transport, packaging, and storage, feeds the great majority of world population and supports the livelihoods of over 1 billion people. The food system is under pressure from non-climate stressors like population and income growth, demand for animal products, and for climate change. These climate and non-climate stresses are impacting the 4 pillars of food security: availability, access, utilization, and stability. Observed climate change is already affecting food security through increasing temperatures, changing precipitation patterns, and greater frequency of some extreme events. Warming compounded by driving has caused large negative effects. Climate change is affecting food security in dry lands, particularly those in Africa. The governments and developed countries have to support countries that suffer by increasing the profit share of farmers and growers. They should make technology cheaper and provide training and support. As for the families, the income has to rise because the food is connected with so many social benefits. Families are in poverty and they're struggling to meet their basic needs. Looking back at what we've discussed, we are ready to begin understanding the global food security issue. We should remember that we want a diverse perspective on the issue, as well as a local and global expertise. Furthermore, we have to bear in mind what affects some of us now may affect all of us tomorrow. For this reason, global cooperation is necessary to improve food security. I can sincerely appreciate that I've had this opportunity to present you such an important global issue. Thank you.
Well, it is apparent that we have already altered the climate, increased the frequency of droughts, floods, and severe storms. We also know with stronger evidence that we humans are responsible for all of these adverse effects. If we want to catch it now, decades will pass before the current human efforts to reduce the ongoing climate change that will register their effects. In short, time is at premium. We need social justice for climate change. In the absence of this social justice, what is progress? Nothing but an organized crime on climate. Yes, you heard it right. It is an organized crime on climate under the nose of all the leaders. Thank you.
Thank you very much to our social justice team. Some excellent and very strongly made points there, world leaders. I hope you were listening and can add some of those perhaps to your climate action plan. Our final group of experts this morning is going to be our transport team. So I'd like to invite Naish from the Maldives, Lalente from South Africa, and Noah from the UK to join us to share their expertise in transport. Just pull you to the screen, everyone. We've got Lalente, and Noah. Okay, wonderful. Thank you, transport team, when you're ready.
Hello and welcome to the Kids Corp Summit 2021. My name is Noah and my group wish to discuss the problems and some solutions to current transport. Lalente?
Hello, judges and fellow experts. I am Lalente Lamaroka in the transport team. My specialist area is relevant to a summit focused on climate change because even though transport is good to transport goods and people, it is also bad for the environment. Transport such as buses, cars, and planes and more usually use diesel and petrol to move from place to place. Petrol and diesel emit greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. 1/5 of the world's carbon emissions is caused by transport. Action has been taken through the Transport Decarbonisation Plan 2020 by the Department of Transport. The Prime Minister of the UK, Boris Johnson, announced £5 billion in funding for investment in local buses, cycling and walking infrastructure. The Department of Transport is run by Ministers Chris Heaton-Harris and Andrew Stephenson. The £5 billion in funding includes funding of at least 4,000 zero-emission buses to make greener travel the convenient option. The recommended actions. Number 1, government should provide subsidies and incentives for people to buy green vehicles such as electric, hybrid, and biofuel, as well as people using zero-emission public transport. Government subsidizing green carbon-neutral vehicles and public transport would lessen the prices of buying a green carbon-neutral vehicle or buying a ticket to use public transport, thus making use of green transport easier. Number 2, intelligent city planning. Plan cities intelligently and strategically to promote and encourage walking and cycling. We should plan cities where the houses are close to the workplaces and it is in a walkable distance to walk home or to work. In addition, there should be a school bus that picks up all the school children for school so that there are not so many parents dropping off their children at school, creating so many greenhouse gases for the atmosphere. Intelligent city planning is successful in South Africa. There's a city in South Africa called Steyn City, created by Steyn. Steyn City utilizes intelligent city planning and I go to Steyn City School. Number 3, government should host a series of workshops and consultations to work with stakeholders such as the public and businesses to generate ideas for a policy proposal. Government will then approve the policy proposal and then implement the ideas on the policy proposal. Launch a public feedback opportunity for transport users and stakeholders to feed in their views on decarbonizing transport. Thank you for listening. Over to Naish.
Building of transport networks can be environmentally damaging. Invention of wheels was one of the greatest achievements of human development. This then led to the invention of different means of transport. Every country started transport network systems for their development, but everyone kept a blind eye on the damage caused to the environment due to this. The main damages are burns most of world's petroleum, air pollution, noise pollution, water pollution, etc., emission of greenhouse gases, global warming, climate change, health and cardiovascular disease, transport networking like roads and rails are occupying land resources, increase soil erosion, and habitat destruction. The problems can be reduced if walking and bicycling is encouraged for short distance travels. Encourage people to use public transport, carpool, bike sharing programs, or ride sharing devices than using individual vehicles. Using alternative fuel like hydrogen or use electric vehicles. Thank you for hearing me out. Over to Lelente.
The closing statement. We recommend the use of green cars such as electric, hybrid, and biofuel, which are carbon neutral. Government should provide subsidies for green carbon neutral vehicles and zero emission public transport. Improve the infrastructure of green carbon neutral vehicles to make green transport easier. Plan public and business workshops and consultations to contribute to a policy proposal relating to transport. Intelligent city planning to encourage walking and cycling and eliminate unnecessary car journeys. Work to minimize the environmental impact of new transport systems being built. I hope you enjoyed our presentation and are left with the thoughts of how transport influences climate change and that we provided thoughtful recommendations to solve future climate change problems. Thank you for listening.
I still need to say something.
Noah needs to speak, so we've just done that a little bit around a different way, but that's okay. Noah, would you like to take the stage for your points?
Yes, please. The first problem is that a large number of fossil fuels in the atmosphere. These can come from cars, trains, and airplanes, as well as many others. We can reduce this by taking holidays in our own countries, where cycle or walk to places when you can. Public transport, such as buses, can be really helpful, but only if people are actually using it. This is because buses actually produce more greenhouse gases and burn more fossil fuels than cars. However, if more people are using the bus, it means less carbon on the road, and the total amount of damage done on the world is still less. The next problem is that smoke coming from the transport can be harmful when breathing in by both people and animals, as it can cause asthma and breathing problems. A way to solve this could be to use more electric transport like electric cars and trains. Thank you.
Thank you very much to our transport team. Some great points there to be put across from lots of different subtopics within the transport team topic, and some current up-to-date knowledge is what I saw there as well. So we're going to take a 5-minute break now to let you all have a stretch, run to the loo and do all those things that you need to do. I think we're going to continue streaming live on Facebook. So if you want to turn your camera off, you can either leave and rejoin, or you can turn your camera off and put yourself on mute and then return again at 10:30. And then we'll do the second part of our summit, where the world leaders will be looking at putting their points across and challenging you on some of your ideas. We'll move on to that part of the event. Okay, we'll see you shortly. Thank you, guys.
When will we come back?
In 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
So at 30 minutes past whatever hour it is in the country that you're in.
Kirsty and Georgie, can we just stay in the Zoom instead of going out?
You can
Yes,
stay
if you
in,
want
yeah.
to, that's fine.
Just put yourself on mute or turn your camera off if you like, if you're going to have to do something, and then you can just come back and put your camera back on if you want to.
All right, thank you, Kirsty and Georgie.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, hope you're almost all back with us. We'll start again in just a moment. So lots of really fantastic comments, everyone in the chat going on. Thank you very much for sharing your support and feedback for the other groups. Some really interesting points made by all of our speakers. So well done teams for all your practice, your preparation and your hard work and research and becoming our subject experts for these. And thank you for sharing your support and kind words to everyone. Excellent presentations. So I'll just give it another few moments to make sure that everyone's back with us. And then we're going to be handing over to our world leaders because I'm pretty sure they're going to have some questions that they want to ask our expert teams to help them update their world action plan with some of the suggestions that you have made.
I just wanted to say as well, Kirsty, what a fantastic effort by everybody. Some great speaking. I loved the passion with some of you as well, how passionate you were using your hand gestures, and you're very, very mature speakers. So a big well done to everybody that's taken part today. You've all worked very hard for this for several weeks. And I think we need to say a big thank you as well to our world leaders that will be with us shortly and challenging some of our speakers as well on their points today. So don't forget, team speakers, you might be asked some questions today on your points. So get yourselves ready for that. Thank you, yes, world leaders, for volunteering your time today for this event. We're very privileged that you've joined us today. Some great stuff going on in the chat though, Kirsty. Have you seen some great interaction in the chat, which is lovely to see?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Lots of support, lots of good ideas being shared. So,
yeah, good stuff.
Lots of really positive comments. It's wonderful to see you all supporting each other. So supporting each other and supporting the need for climate action and climate justice. So I hope our world leaders had their ears wide open to all of your amazing suggestions. So, okay, I think all of our world leaders are back with us. So world leaders, can we hand over to you and see if there any of the team expert suggestions have encouraged you to update your world action plan with some more ambitious targets, or open the floor if you've got any questions for any of the teams that you'd like to put to them. Barry, shall I hand over to you?
Shall I start? Yes. I was very interested in listening to. I put the teams into groups, and I thought there were two major groups here. There was biodiversity, food and farming, forests, oceans, if you like, the natural world, and then there was the unnatural world of business, energy, social justice, and transport. So I'm just wondering if we can sort of get some joint ideas between those two sets of teams. So on the natural world, you know, what do you guys think is the biggest thing we could do for the planet? Is it stop cutting down trees? Is it eat less fish? I don't know. What do you, from your research, what do you think is best?
I have an idea.
Yeah.
I'm not from the natural team, but I have an idea. I think that stopping pollution and stop cutting down trees is the best idea for the natural world.
Okay, and should we add that to our list of objectives, our plan?
I think I don't know.
Yeah, I think I agree. I mean, deforestation is a huge problem, isn't it, everywhere in the world? And it would be great if we could all plant more trees and stop cutting them down.
So I think it should be in the list, I guess.
You think it should be in the list, yeah? And should we put a number on that? So could we say that everybody should plant 1 tree, or every country plant 100 trees?
No cutting down trees, because a lot of people cut down trees, and for example, in the Amazon, we burn it. Sometimes humans burn it, and that also is a cause of deforestation. So I think it'll be better if we make burning the forest illegal, just cutting less trees, not a lot of trees.
Yeah, yeah. And Vashika, I see you've got your hand up.
Yes, sir. So, as I'm in the Asian country, so the biggest problem is the overpopulation because the how many people will be there will be more demand, and as I have said in my presentation, if there is more demand, then the habitat loss, the deforestation, the forest fire will increase. So, these so
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I think
Understood.
overpopulation.
Yeah, so overpopulation is related to all of this, isn't it? I think, yeah. That's your point. Yeah, excellent, excellent point.
I think we've got Rebecca as well.
Rebecca. Yes,
Harry.
Rebecca's got a hand up. Yeah. Go ahead, Rebecca.
I believe that it's important to support each other's ideas, and collaboration is the key.
Okay, thank you. And what specifically, is there a specific example you can give of encouraging collaboration to help with the climate crisis?
Sorry?
Is there an example you could give you'd like to see of a collaboration to help with the climate crisis?
All countries plant trees.
All countries plant trees. Excellent. I think that's a really good addition to our plan.
I think we've got Noella with his hand up as well. Noella, would you like to ask one of our world leaders or put something forward to one of our world leaders?
So we should be selective with the trees that we cut down. Also using renewable energy around the world. So like, for example, if your house uses, let's say, fossil fuels that are being burned in factories and all, you should switch to a more renewable energy source, like solar power or wind energy.
Yes, very true. Yeah, and I'm very pleased that the UK, where I live, we produce more wind energy per head than any other country in the world, which is extraordinary. I didn't realise that, but we are world leaders, and it can be done. You know, we're not a particularly windy country, but we can do it here, which is great. We'd like more sun, though, I think, for solar in the UK. So should I hand over to another world leader?
Yes, that would be great. Thank you, Barry. Should we go over to John Paul, perhaps? And I think we had, who had their hand up? Let's go to, so John Paul, do you want to step forward and just speak for a moment? And I think then Noah would like to say something to you.
Yeah, should I speak or should I wait for?
Yeah, okay. Hi, John Paul. So Noah, would you like to say something to our world leaders? Noah, did you have your hand up?
Sorry, I was muted. So maybe if you could use maybe if you used some if you planted lots of trees and you didn't do use as much things that produce pollution like TV or cars and things, so we could maybe we could try to, maybe we could say that you need to have an even split of driving and not using things that produce pollution and other things to harm our environment.
Okay. Thank you, Noah. So I hope our ward leaders had a listen to that. Has anyone else got something they'd like to speak to our world leaders and put forward their points? Or perhaps our world leaders would like to say something to our teams?
Well, we've got quite a few hands up. Let's have some questions. Lelente, South Africa.
We should all go green.
This is the motto of our school. We should use green energy at schools also.
Excellent. What sort of green energy do you get in Greece? Oh, we lost it. Lelente, South Africa.
What do you think?
Sun. Sunshine, yes. Go ahead, Lelente.
I wanted to say transport is important because we use it in our everyday lives. In the business and finance team, they recommended the use of electric cars, and plus they're not as efficient because there's not enough infrastructure in place around the UK for electric cars, and it's not efficient because there's not a lot of infrastructure. If you're driving for a long distance somewhere, your battery might run out and there won't be any place for you to charge it. And in the energy team, they recommended that scientists should build better transport and use renewable energy sources like hydro and solar power. And in the food and farming team, they recommended that we use renewable machinery. And in the ocean team, they recommended cycling and walking instead of cars. And that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you. And it's interesting that South Africa produces most of the world's platinum, which is a very rare metal. It's mined in South Africa. And it's absolutely critical for fueling cars with hydrogen. It's really important for fuel cell cars. So there's a lot of money and a lot of effort going on in South Africa to bring on fuel cell powered cars rather than electric vehicles. So who else has their hand up?
Who else have we got? I think Nestor in Greece would like to speak to our world leaders. Thank you, Nestor.
Hello. I would like to say that this decay is the decay for oceans, and Greece is a country with a long coastline. So my proposal is to keep all seas clean and protect fish species.
Okay, Raheel, you've got your hand up.
What I want to say, you should work with scientists because they could invent a better transportation, and also they could put solar panels on transportation as we do on our houses.
And I very much like the idea of working with scientists and giving scientists more money to invent more stuff. I think that's an excellent resolution for us all, because the solution to all these problems is science.
Absolutely, absolutely. Everything is interlinked, isn't it? At the end
It is.
It is all science. It's all science. Does anyone else have their hands up? Oh, we've got lots more hands up actually. Should we say Karthikeya? Karthikeya, what would you like to ask?
Yes, thank you. So, since killing a tree is no different than killing a human being, so do you think it is better if the government is more stricter and not more kind to the people who are violating the laws, appropriately giving the punishments to them?
Any of our ward leaders like to respond to that? Toby or John Paul?
Yeah, it's a tough question. Like if someone doesn't cut trees, then we don't need to punish. So we have already laws to punish those who cut trees or those who deforest. So like if no one doesn't cut trees or no one doesn't deforest, then there won't be any punishments. If more people are engaged in like cutting trees or deforestation, they will be surely punished. So you know, the industries like we have, some of you have also discussed about biomass. So all those is also comes from trees, as they are also source of energies. So it might be difficult to completely stop cutting trees. So at some point we have to cut trees. At some point in places like Amazon, we won't be, we shouldn't cut trees. So it's important, like we should know like when to punish and also like when not to punish. Yeah.
was a pledge, wasn't there, for 2030 to stop deforestation. It's the latest in our current COP26.
It was actually, it was 2050.
Oh, 2050 was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So leaders have committed to making deforestation illegal by 2050. Do we think that's soon enough? Could we be a bit more ambitious, do we think? What do we think, Forest Group?
Anyone in our forest group got their hand up today? Can't see anybody in our forest group actually with their hand up at the moment.
No, doesn't matter. Anybody else want to respond? Let's try Sarah, shall we? She's got her hand up.
I think 2050 will be a too long time. We should do it now instead of later, because that will be like in 30 years time, and we need to make our actions now, because by 2050 we will have all of the forest gone, and maybe the Amazon forest will also be gone by then.
I think that's right. I think we should change our 2050. Should we change it to 2025, Kirsty, or 2022 even?
What do our other world leaders think? How ambitious are you feeling, world leaders?
It's 2030.
I think the misunderstanding is I was referring to real life COP26, but your 2050 is in your world leaders plan, isn't it? Yes. So that's where the confusion. My apologies. I confused everybody there. Your plan is 2050, which is quite far away, isn't it?
I think yes, we need to change that. Yeah.
So Connor agrees we need to change that.
Yeah.
Okay, so world leaders, how ambitious are you feeling? Toby, what do we want to go for, do you think?
I think the risk is if we move it closer to 2021, 2022, we're not going to hit the target, and that creates a lot of problems in the next COP26 because we held to account. So I think 2030 is a justifiable position to be in with maybe midterm targets of considerable reductions by 2025. So let's say we can get it down to 75% by 2025, and then we can check again in 2030 for a full end to deforestation.
Yeah, we haven't talked about energy yet, and I see Tarana has a hand up. What would you like to quiz us on energy about, Tarana?
Well, I think that petroleum and oil are a huge issue, and there are huge ships that mine on the sea. So if we could reduce our oil consumption, then it'll reduce the amount of oil spills and also help save nature from harmful chemicals like carbon monoxide and nitrogen oxide that get released into the air by cars, exhaust pipes, fuel. So it's green transport.
Okay, green
We
transport.
should do that as soon as possible. If it's in 2021, it's the best that it's in 2021.
Well, Kirsty, what's our current plan on green transport?
So current plan is by all vehicles become hybrid by 2050.
Not electric, just hybrid.
Yeah. There's also a real challenge around how many vehicles there are. So just to give one example, which is the UK, there's a shortage of other manufacturing parts for cars. So we could put lots of hybrid or potentially even electric vehicle technology into cars, but the number of people that need transport and to use cars far outweighs what the current amount of electric vehicles there are. And these are the other practical factors that the industry has. But I hope that makes sense, that it's possible to do it. And a lot of companies, a lot of technology is already available, but it's not available in the numbers that are needed by the wider public. And that's the real challenge.
Okay, then 2040 is okay. Yes.
Rebecca, did you have your hand up just now? No. Okay. Gemma, would you like to ask anyone in social justice team any questions at all?
Yes, I was very interested because one of the speakers on the social justice panel mentioned deforestation as a social justice issue, and obviously it's something that does kind of cross over of those two areas, because one of the challenges is everybody has the need for oxygen. At the moment, rainforests and other large forests are very, very important for both containing carbon and then actually having enough oxygen for everybody. I think that was a really good point, where the two fields around the natural world and then sort of the artificial world do come together. So I think that was a really helpful point. And then obviously that target around deforestation has both a natural world and biodiversity impact, but also, you know, we're all impacted by the social justice around deforestation as well.
Lots of hands up. Shall I invite one of you world leaders to ask a question to one of our, so we've got Lelente, Anvashika, Karthikeya and Tahara that have their hands up.
Let's hear from Tara about food and farming, because you have spoke about a lot of technologies which is needed in farming, especially incorporating renewables and also caring for animals. Then how about switching vegetarian or vegan, like having more of plant-based products? So it also aligns with biodiversity team, which like many of you have spoken about collaboration. So that team actually protects species as well as if we grow plants. So how do you think about that?
First of all, I would like to say that 2030 is a good idea. And a solution for food and farming, we can reduce livestock emissions, because managing livestock and grassland in a sustainable way can provide farmers with cost-effective solutions to their good animals, good feed. And another problem is that diseases in land shortage were the main constraints. So I would like to see if you guys have a solution.
Does Seychelles produce more of what's a sustainable products through farming, or is it still lagging behind?
I think they produce more.
Okay, great.
Just had a message that Newark Hill are going to have to go, Kirsty. They've come to the end of their time with us. So should we have a couple more questions, and then we'll take our break for our world leaders to have a think about all your presentations today, and they can get their heads together and see what they think about your ideas. Kirsty, should we share our board now and start adding ideas for our last?
Yep. Let's put the board up.
Yeah,
I can do that, and then we can add in any final points that we feel we need to. Okay, so the update on the targets we've got, excuse me.
Who would like to add something to biodiversity?
Oh yes, please go ahead, I'll type it up for you.
Please. Who's got the hand up? If I asked the person on the top of my list, Tara in the Seychelles, could you add a comment to biodiversity there? Anybody else?
Unmute for us, Tara.
Unmute. Yeah, you're on mute, Tara.
We can reduce eating more meat.
Okay, so was that go under biodiversity, or is that more food and farming?
Karthikeya, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, thank you. As it's impossible to change everybody's minds around here, so why don't we just start a small garden or a vegetation garden in our own place, like in our garden, which is better.
Yes, I think that's a great idea. A previous event I was on, people were saying, why not create a square meter of biodiversity somewhere close to you? just 1 square meter near you, wherever you are in the world. And it's an extraordinary increase, and it brings people's awareness of biodiversity as well. So I like that. Square meter of biodiversity, please, Kirsty.
Yeah, okay.
And I think we've missed the ban of hunting animals is fine, but I think we need to tie biodiversity into deforestation. We need to link it. We need to tie it into the oceans as well. And also, you know, food and farming is going to have an effect on biodiversity. So quite how you tie all those up in one small sentence, Kirsty, I don't know, but I leave that for you.
I'll
You're
try.
very clever.
Yeah, I definitely found the mention around agroforestry definitely very positive, because it sort of factors in the need for food, it factors in the need for oxygen, and potentially upskills farming as well. So I think there's plenty of things like that that could come in and be encouraged. I'm not sure how that fits with a recommendation on that board though.
I think in terms of the all the nature world commitments that we're making, it might be a good one to build up on that use of pesticides point, not just of food and farming, but in urban jurisdictions and forests as well. Because if we do end up creating 1 meter squared of biodiversity for everyone, we could also kill it quite quickly with the Roundup that's used at people's gardens. So if we could ban it there as well, that'd be great.
So do we want to make a stronger commitment to pesticides rather than reducing the use by 10% by 2050? What do you think, Toby? Are you going to be an ambitious world leader with pesticides?
Yeah, I think we should just ban it, really. Somebody mentioned a good point of using nature-based solutions like aphids and ladybugs and owls. So I think that would be great to implement.
Okay, when are we banning our pesticide use by?
2022.
2022, excellent. Okay, banning use of pesticides and relying on natural pest control. Oops. Okay, world leaders, is there anything else on your board you feel we need to update? So we've got some new targets for.
I think we've got some excellent new targets. I think there's tremendous food for thought there, isn't there? I think we could go on for another 2 hours, I suspect, and fill in lots more points. And I think there are many, many more points to be made, which is great. But I think world leaders, we ought to go off and do our judging now, if that's all right with everybody.
I think that sounds sensible. Okay, so judges, we'll let you leave us for a few moments to make your decisions and come back and share with us. We'll summarise our new action plan with the experts who have contributed, and we look forward to hearing back from you in about 15 minutes or so, judges.
Excellent. We'll see you in a moment. Bye.
Okay, let me stop screen sharing a moment. Okay, so everyone, thank you for your expert points to our wonderful teams there for sharing your incredible ideas, highlighting the problems that the areas you're representing are facing and some of the solutions as well. Our world leaders have now left the meeting. They're going to a separate meeting to discuss your final points, and they're going to then come back in a few moments in their role as judges. So as you may or may not have realised, there was some prizes up for grabs for our best team and our best individuals today. So the judges, our world leaders, are going to go away, have that talk, and come back and share with us in a few moments some feedback for each of the teams and for each of you as presenters, and we're going to hear from that shortly. So let's just have a quick look at our updated action plan to see if you are happy with it, or if you think there's anything else that
you add some more to it.
So I tell you what, we can add some more to it, and I'll do it in a different color maybe. There we go. So I can add in some additional suggestions. So what else have you got you think that we need to add in? So Noelle, your hand's up. Do you want to share one of your ideas you think we need to add on?
Eating more vegetables and throwing away less food, which will go under food and farming.
Oh, that's a good one. Reducing food waste. Yeah. Okay. So
I
put reduce meat consumption.
Sorry,
I have an
And
idea.
maybe using more, maybe electric cars. You can put under energy, I think. Transport, if there is. Oh, they already have. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Who else got the hand up? Tirana?
I think this should go under energy, Partnership, because we can use partnership to partner with other people like businesses, scientists, government, and we are citizens. So we can use that to make new things, technologies that will save nature, and negotiate with businesses to make good
Okay.
projects.
So
and fund.
partnerships to develop new solutions.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that. Who else has got their hand up? Lilente?
I wanted to add to the transport that we can use hybrids such as electric and solar, or electric and biofuel, and also to add intelligent city planning.
Oh, that's a good one. Yep, let's put that on. Okay.
And manufacture more zero emission public transport, such as buses.
Yeah, so I put improving the infrastructure and manufacturing to increase the use of green vehicles, because one of our world leaders mentioned that there isn't enough production of materials to create them. So if we improve the amount of charging points, like you suggested earlier, and we increase the ability to create green vehicles, both cars and buses, and that will help. Excellent. Karthikeya.
Yeah, thank you. So in the business and finance section, I would like to say that the government should mainly focus on the companies or new startups, which mainly focus on the organic farming and eco-friendly products, because that is one of the main problems. And also including the energy ones. Everybody's talking about the solar panels and all, but I have a question that how should we dispose the solar panels? Because disposing solar panels is also like a landfill one. It's
Okay,
not
that's a good point. So can anyone think of any ways that we can get around the problem of sort of throwing away things? Are there any solutions? Maybe the business and finance team might have an answer to this one. Did you talk about anything that might help to get rid of any waste or stop creating waste? Tree?
Yeah. Maybe if like we want to reduce it and stop creating more, maybe we should every time we make it and use it already, maybe we can recycle it again so we can use it again.
Yeah, do you remember what the name of that was? Remember the idea of the circular economy?
Yes.
Donut economy, I like that as well.
Yeah, so the idea of a circular economy is that rather than manufacturing a product, using a product and then throwing it away, that the businesses that are creating these products are responsible for the whole life cycle. So they have to think about responsible sourcing of the materials. They have to think about making it as environmentally friendly while it's being used. And they also have to think about what happens to that product when you finished using it. Are they going to take it back and recycle it? Can they use it to take those pieces apart and then use those to make something else? So rather than having waste produced, the companies that are making these products have to think about what happens at the end of that product's life and how they're going to stop that being waste and make it reusable for other things. So yeah, really good one.
Wait, but can I add something?
Yep.
Can I add something to my own team?
Yep, go on then, Tree.
So most factories are settled in developing countries and pollute the environment. So maybe we should invest more money and take more action in those countries.
Invest in green.
Can I also add something?
Yeah, invest in green development in developing countries. Oh, yeah.
Miss, can I also add something?
Yep.
In oceans,
okay.
Human waste, we can stop human waste.
What do you mean by stop human waste, Tara?
Like there are humans, when they go fishing, they waste in the water and it causes damage to the fishes. We can reduce it.
Okay. So what could we do?
So like
what
it has an effect.
Solution?
There's a problem with the fisherman's livelihood, for example.
Yep, go on, for example.
So what Tara is trying to say, I think, is that when the ocean is polluted, this also has an effect on the fishermen's livelihood, since they depend mostly on the oceans to get their fish from it and get their money for as a career.
Okay, so what could we do to reduce the pollution?
Using biodegradable plastic.
Oh, that's a good one. Oh, I can't spell it.
Or we can create laws.
Oh, that's a good one as well. What laws would you create, Tara?
Like, for example, stop the human waste in water, in the ocean.
Okay, so create laws to prevent pollution. Excellent. What about social justice? We haven't got many additional points added yet for social justice.
I think he's very keen.
Ellen, your hands up, Eleni.
I am with biodiversity, and I say to say no to the plastic, to turn off the water while brushing your teeth, local, grow your own herb garden without chemicals.
Okay, so save energy. We've got about stopping pesticides and growing your own. Okay, that's a good one. So save energy at home.
Ms. Kirsty, can you just give us an idea about what you want us to add in social justice?
Well, the point that the world leaders have already spoken about is having minimum wages set across all countries. Is there anything we can do? So social justice is thinking about making society fair for everyone, so everyone has the same ability to access food, water, education, healthcare, education, yeah, all of those things. So is there anything we can do? Because we've said, or a lot of you have mentioned, that some people are going to feel the effects of climate change more than others. So is there anything, any solutions or any suggestions we can do to try and help those people that perhaps are going to feel the impacts of climate change more? Or are there actions that those that are not feeling climate change yet can take?
Okay, so this has something to do with the government. So the governments can just build up a shelter and then gather all the homeless people into it, get some money like donations to get their foods for them and all, so nobody has to go hungry and starve on the streets.
Okay, so governments to provide better support for citizens.
This can I add one to my group?
Yep, absolutely.
We can buy it for food and farming. We can buy locally grown seasonal foods.
Okay, yeah. What about, I think there were a few more on social justice. Who else had a point for social justice?
I have an idea.
Yep.
I also have.
Hang on, Georgie, can you help with managing? I can't see who's got their hand up and type at the same time.
Oh, sorry, I was just looking at the judges chat. Our world leaders are back, by the way, Kirsty.
Oh, okay, fantastic. Let's get one more point for social justice then, and then we'll hear from our world leaders.
We go to Ambashika. Ambashika? Do you want to unmute for us? Did you have a point on social justice?
Ma'am, I have a point for biodiversity.
Okay, should we have one more to biodiversity?
I have one more.
Yes, ma'am, we can. Yes, ma'am, we can make more wildlife sanctuaries, national parks, bioreservoirs by the help of the government. And ma'am, we can boycott the product and the decorated items which are made up of the skin, the fur, the teeth of the endangered species and the animal. And we can use eco-label product.
Excellent, that's nice. I like that, because I put create more wildlife sanctuaries and national parks on land and in the ocean.
There's one for social justice.
Okay, final point for social justice, and then we're going to go back to our world leaders.
Yes, I also have a social justice point.
Okay, Karthikeya, what's your point?
Low-income countries are being affected the most than more than high-income countries because in addition to low-income countries, they have far less capability to adapt to climate change than high-income countries.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, excellent. Right, let's hand back to our judges now. So
Sorry. Can I say something about social justice?
Yeah, but let's make that the last point because our world leaders are back. They're ready to share with you their feedback. So let's make this the final point for social justice, and then we'll hand back over. Go ahead, I can type it up for you.
The governments and developed countries have to support countries that suffer by increasing the profit share of farmers and growers. They should make technology cheaper and provide training and support.
Excellent, that's a really nice one. Thank you for finishing that one. I think that's a great point to finish on. Okay, Georgie, can I hand back over to you?
Yes, so team speakers, I've just been informed that our world leaders have come out of their room. Some of them have had to go as we're running a little bit over time, but some of them are back in. And I think I'm probably going to hand over to Barry. Barry, do you have all your discussion information? And we're sitting here waiting to find out, very excited and slightly nervous to find out what conclusion that you came to.
Yes.
Thanks, Barry.
Well, shall I first introduce myself in real life?
Yeah,
rather
that'd be
than a world
lovely.
leader? I'm not really a world leader at all. I'm a scientist, so I'm very excited to hear that a lot of you want to give more money to scientists to do more research and development. That's great. So I've worked over years on clean energy, cleaning up pollution from cars, electric vehicles, batteries. And I'm currently working on something called porous liquids, which are liquids which can capture carbon dioxide. So we're hoping to commercialize those quite soon. So science can obviously make a difference. I would just like to say to all of you, I'd love to give you all a prize because I think it's a fantastic discussion today. I think you're very much aware of the issues facing our planet. And I think you've made your case very, very strongly indeed. So in a moment, I will come on to the scores, but I think we've probably got another judge or two still to introduce themselves. Have we?
John Paul has left, but I think we might have Toby and Jamal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Toby, would you like to go first? Maybe not, maybe Toby's not here actually. Okay, Germel, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, so I'm Gamal, and I am a trustee of Renaissance Foundation. So that's a similar organisation to sustainable living. We're based in London. I also am an advisor to sustainable companies. So when I was interested in this food and farming, so I've supported a company that uses what would be otherwise waste food and turning it into new products like hummus, for example. Those types of initiatives and organizations. I also work in the technology industry, but one of my concerns and something that I sort of see as a major challenge is the number of data centers and IT infrastructure organizations and systems that are using lots of carbon. So the industry is addressing it, but it's something that is there. So that's really important. And then also I am part of supporting quite a few initiatives and new technologies. And so I'm a member of the EV 500. So that's an industry grouping of leaders in the electric vehicles industry. So I'm very passionate about what I've seen today. Well done, you all definitely deserve a prize. I think it's been some amazing ideas and yeah, very, very positive about how many great ideas, how much talent there is coming in and all of your enthusiasm that you've been bringing to your presentation today.
Thank you very much, Gemma. And we again would like to reiterate how grateful we are for you volunteering to be our world leaders. We couldn't have done this event without you, so it's greatly appreciated. And to also bring your knowledge to the table as well is great for our young generation to see and speak with as well. Okay, Barry, do you have all of our results?
The moment of truth. Yeah. First of all, I mean, the judges have awarded points to individuals. So we've been listening to you and listening to your contributions. And we've also tried to award a point to the team, which shows evidence of good knowledge, research, presentation, and also teamwork. The first thing to notice is that the difference between the top and the bottom is very, very small. So you're all extremely good today, I have to say. And it's almost unfair to pick out the individual winners, but we have to, I guess, someone has to be the winner. But so for our winning group, the winning group was energy. Again, by a very, very close margin. Everybody else was very close behind them, but I think they just edged it by having a nicely structured presentation. I think that was the thing that did it for me. It was good handovers and a good structure of the presentation. Let's get on to individuals. Again, this was a very difficult decision. I mean, you were all so good. And the difference between the top and the bottom is tiny. It's really astonishing. So really hard, really hard to do this. And by a very small margin, our winner is Tarana from Japan, who actually was in the energy group. So well done. Well done to you all.
Well done, Tarana, and well done to our energy team. Great big well done to all of you, though. What a fabulous, fabulous result. You've all worked so hard, and like Barry said, it's very difficult, so difficult to actually choose our winners because you've all put in so much effort. So a big well done to everybody. Well done to our energy team. We will be in touch with you all. You will all be getting a certificate to say you've taken part in today's event anyway, which you can keep to say you've spoken about to save our planet internationally for today's event. So a great big well done. Kirsty, I'll hand over to you.
Yeah, fantastic. Well done, everyone. Just because a couple of our judges had to leave, guys, I just wanted to tell you about them as well, because they're also very climate relevant people. So Toby is a sustainability risk analyst for a company called KPMG. So she's very much in the business and finance sector, but she's also one of the leaders of the UK Youth Climate Coalition. So she has been extremely active in the Real COP Summit that's happening at the moment up in Glasgow, as is John Paul, who is up in Glasgow at the moment. He's a member of the Asian Environmental Youth Network, one of their leaders, and he's done a lot of work on oceans, protecting ocean areas around India and the Indian Ocean where he lives. So very relevant judges, all very interested in climate change and experts in the areas that we've asked you to talk about today. So it's been really fantastic to have Toby and John Paul with us, and also thank you, Barry and Germal, for joining us. And yes, massive congratulations, everyone. You've worked extremely hard over the last few weeks to become experts in your subjects, to work on your presentations, to work together in your teams, and to share with our world leaders some of your suggestions. And as you can see from our board world leaders, we added a few extra additional ones in. We've got a much better action plan that's got much more ambitious targets. We're going to be banning things instead of reducing. We've cut all of our deadlines down from 2050 to at least 2040 or 2022 in some cases. We're looking at partnerships to develop new solutions. We're going to be investing in green finance. We're going to be sharing our knowledge and supporting those countries that perhaps don't have the finance themselves to develop in green ways, and doing that through these amazing partnerships. So it's been wonderful to hear so many incredible suggestions, and I think you all deserve a big round of applause for getting these world leaders to update their action plan. So well done, everyone.
Well done.
And
excuse me.
Yes, Noella.
Which group came second, third, and fourth?
Oh, I don't know. Did you work that out?
No, I can tell you if, should I tell people?
Yeah, go ahead.
Why not? Yes, I can do that. Just a second, just a moment. So second was biodiversity, and
biodiversity.
a joint third. A joint third between transport and business and finance.
Okay.
Well, congratulations.
And do you know the other groups? Don't feel bad about these other groups. You were just 1 point behind the joint third.
Wow.
It was that close.
That's how close it really was.
It was extraordinarily close. Yeah. So you did really well, everybody.
Fantastic. Congratulations. Thank you for letting us know, Barry. So, well, I hope that the real world leaders at the Real COP in Glasgow at the moment given some amazing suggestions and solutions that you have presented to our world leaders today, and I hope they start to adopt those. There's already been some big steps made in Glasgow this week. There's been lots of paperwork signed on forests to help protect our forests. Barry updated us this morning, there's been a new commitment to get sustainability and environmental education onto more curriculums around the world, so that more young people like yourselves can learn about forests and climate and oceans and all that wonderful biodiversity that we've got, and how that's so important to us, which you've demonstrated today. So I hope that the real world leaders are as well advised as our world leaders have been today with your incredible suggestions. So thank you very much for joining us today, everyone. It's been a pleasure to have you. I'm amazed, as I am every time I work with you students, at the incredible ideas and effort that you've put into this and how persuasive you've managed to be. You've been great with your presentations. It's been wonderful to have international teams. And we hope that you are able to join us in about 40 minutes. Georgie and I are going to be doing a live climate lesson to talk a little bit more about some of the subjects you've been exploring today. So if you're able to join us for that, that'd be wonderful. But congratulations, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Everyone. Bye.
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 Goodbye.
Bye.
Great job, everyone. Bye.
Miss,
I'm relaxed now.
Miss Georgie. It's okay if we can't join later, right?
You can join. Yeah, so later on is Kirsty and I are doing a climate and nature lesson, which will be at about 12 o'clock, so in 40 minutes time. It will be streamed live on Facebook, on ZooLab Facebook page, and hopefully the Trust for Sustainable Living will share it as well onto their page. But it's on this link, so if you are free and you just want to join and watch and type in the chat, then you can. It's actually on this link anyway, so you join back if you want to.
Yeah, we're going to record it as well, so it will be on our YouTube if you can't watch it later.
Okay.
Brilliant. Well done, everyone. Well done, Tara.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Well done.
Oh, Emma's left.
Okay.
Okay, fantastic.
I'll message you and I'll see you in about 40 minutes.
Brilliant. Well done, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. Bye.
Bye.